Yo, my randy bunch of beer-swilling, hop-sniffing, lip-licking legends. I'm sick as a fucking dog this week and can't string a proper beer review together without sounding like Darth Vader on a ventilator. So, instead, I'm dragging this one out of the vaults. This is the video that kick-started the chaos, the one that somehow made people say, yeah, I'll subscribe to this lunatic. And here's the thing. Since this video first aired 9 months ago, we've now blasted past 3,600 subscribers. Madness. So let's raise a glass to all of you who've been part of this ridiculous ride so far. Incidentally, mine's a fucking lemsip, COVID-19 edition. Cheers, mates. So, the video. It's raw, it's messy, it's before I really found my flow or really learnt how to edit, but it's where the hopper reviews first took off. Ah, the good old days. It's more about what you hear than what you see. So, grab a pint, enjoy the throwback, and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more retro replays every now and then. Your feedback means the world to me. Normal madness will resume once I can taste beer without coughing up a lung. Take care, folks, and see you soon. Here it is, The Vile Pile, Episode 1. Welcome to The Vile Pile, where I, the hopper, review the worst beers that taste like they came from the devil's arsehole. That's right, folks. I subject myself to these fucking unholy concoctions so you don't have to. In this first episode, I'll be showcasing 6 beers that I never want to drink again. We've got a motley crew of offenders lined up, from overly bitter disappointments to piss-infused, watery excuses for refreshment. Buckle up, my friends. It's going to be a bumpy and hopefully useful ride. First up on the chopping block is Forbidden Fruit from Stewart Brewing. Now, I'm usually all for a bit of fruity adventure, but this one tasted like an extremist grapefruit got into a fight with my tongue and won. It was bitter, astringent, and left me feeling like I just sucked on a lemon that had been rolled in a warm pile of smoking horse shit. I get it, some people like their beers bitter, but me? I'm not a bitter person. I prefer my beers like I prefer my perfect evenings, smooth, refreshing, and with good head. This one? This one was about as smooth as fresh sandpaper and twice as dry. Honestly, I'd rather eat a bowl of nails than drink another sip of this utter shite. Forbidden fruit? More like forbidden diarrhea, because it belongs down the bog as quickly as possible. Flushed away and out to sea. Next up, we've got this Hazy IPA from Aldi. I'm not one to turn my nose up at a bargain, but this beer was about as exciting as a wet weekend in Milton Keynes. Other towns are available. It wasn't offensively bad, mind you, just utterly forgettable. It poured a cloudy, uninspiring yellow like someone had taken a slash in a pint glass at a party and hidden it, so it hadn't been found or emptied for an entire month. The aroma was equally underwhelming, with faint hints of citrus and a vague suggestion of hops. And the taste? Oh boy, the taste. It was like drinking a glass of water that someone had lethargically waved a hop cone over. This Hazy IPA from Aldi? It's the kind of beer you buy when you've got a party full of people you don't really like. Have that, you bastards, and next time, bring your own fucking beers. It's so lackluster, it's offensive, it's cheap, and it's utterly forgettable. What's unforgettable? I can't remember. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this next one is a real humdinger. This, my friends, is the Coconut Blonde from Home Bargains, and let me tell you, it's about as appealing as a mouthful of sand and shit. Now, I'm a fan of coconut, especially when it's shoved inside a Bounty bar, but in my beer, that's where I draw the fucking line. Drinking this was like someone had poured a bottle of sun cream into a vat of cheap lager and then decided to serve it from between their arse cheeks. The aroma was enough to make my nostrils recoil in horror, and even my arsehole puckered up in self-defense. It was like walking into a tanning salon that had been doused in cheap air freshener to hide the smell of sweaty, overcooked armpits and butt cracks. And the taste. It reminded me of the time I licked someone's sweaty back after they'd put sun cream on and pissed themselves in Gibraltar. Next up on the chopping block is BrewDog's Jackhammer. Now, I usually quite like BrewDog, Although they've had some decent beers over the years, they've also made some shitting awful ones. including this can of crap. Jackhammer? More like jack off. This was a swing and a miss. It was like they took all the bitterness of 1,000 hops and crammed them into a single can. Now, I'm not a massive fan of bitterness, but I agree that a nice beer has some. A good IPA should have a nice hoppy bite to it, but this was like getting head-butted by a hop cone and having your balls slammed in someone's car boot and then having them race around Silverstone with you in tow by your sack. It was like they'd forgotten to add any of the other flavours that make a beer enjoyable. Update. My balls are now fine, although they still drop to my toes when I take my trolleys off. Northern Monk. Usually a brewery that holds a special place in my heart. But this fruit twist, oh shit everyone, this was a swing and a miss. An oversized club with a ball the size of the illustrious G-spot. It promised so much with its fruity name, but delivered all the excitement of a cold night in front of a broken TV with Theresa May, seductively dancing like a robot with extremely wasted high hopes. Now, I'm all for a bit of fruit in my beer. A touch of citrus, a hint of berry. It can add a lovely refreshing twist. But this was like they'd thrown a fruit salad at a wall and hoped for the best. It was a confusing mishmash of flavours, none of which were particularly pleasant. It was like drinking a glass of fruit-flavoured water that had been left out in the sun too long and pissed in by a tramp. Even 32 wasps flew by the glass and told me to get fucked. Last, but certainly not least, we have Salt's Vic secret. Salt, you're usually a beacon of hope in the beer world, but this, my friends, this was a bastard travesty. Now, I'm not one to shy away from a challenge, but this beer tasted like it had been brewed in a dungeon using only the tears of 1,000 disappointed beer drinkers and the juice from a teenager's freshly squeezed acne. It was bitter, astringent, and left a lingering aftertaste that I can only describe as licking a pensioner's armpits, which I do sometimes do after a couple of imperial stouts. It went down the sink. The beer, not the pensioner. And the worst part, it wasn't even a good kind of bitter. It was the kind of bitterness you get after a good late-night puking session. One that makes you want to scrub your tongue with a wire brush and then gargle with bleach. In fact, I did do that, and then I poured myself another pint of bleach because it was nicer than the fucking beer. Look, I get it. Sometimes experiments go wrong. But this wasn't just a misstep, it was a full-blown faceplant into a vat of shit and disappointment. That's it for this episode of The Vile Pile. If you have any beers you think belong in the devil's arsehole, let me know in the comments. Until next time, keep your taste buds safe. Remember folks, drinking bad beer is a choice, and life's too short for bad beer. So go forth, explore the world of craft brews, and never settle for a pint that doesn't make your taste buds sing. And be careful when dangling your bollocks next to someone's car boot. That's it. Hopper out! Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you stayed until the end, well done. Or maybe you just fell asleep or fucked off to a different room. Either way, your presence helped my watch hours, so thanks. If you listened this far, comment below with the word Wibble, then I'll know who my real tube buddies are. Until we touch meat again. Hopper out!